My name is Teisha Vest. I work in the student development here at BYU, but specifically I teach public speaking, so I'm the director of public speaking. Before I started teaching, I actually worked in sports broadcasting. So I worked for the Salt Lake Bees. I was the director of on-field promotions and marketing. I was able to work with some Ron Boone and some big names doing the radio show, and I loved it. It was so fun, but also it is 5 a.m. I was at the morning show to do radio, and I was working till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night covering the Utah Jazz or the Salt Lake, because you go to every game. And I absolutely loved it, but for the lifestyle that I wanted and the way I wanted to raise my children, it wasn't a sustainable lifestyle. So I thought, why don't I just incorporate what I love, public speaking, into teaching? I love working for BYU. I love BYU specifically because you can incorporate religion into what you're teaching. And with public speaking, like in the church, we public speak every day, right? Like that's something that we do. And so I know that these kids are going to be using public speaking at least once a year when they're asked to give a talk at church. So it is really flattering to hear that 100% of people would want to take my class again. I think I'm a pretty awesome professor, but I also think the course in itself is such a life skill that the students are like, I need this, right? If you can't public speak, it's gonna hinder you for the rest of your life. But if it's something you master, you're gonna have an easier time getting that job and doing those interviews. And so I think students know that this life skill of public speaking is something that benefits them. Something that I specifically do in my class that I'm really lucky because public speaking is a small class, so I'm able to build those one-on-one bonds with my students. And I think that's half the reason they really like my class, because I know them, right? Public speaking is sharing your story and the experiences that you have. And so by the end of the class, we all know each other because we've spent time learning about each other and spending time. And I think that's probably what makes the class most successful. I started teaching online in 2004, which is like pretty much the beginning of online classes. And so I actually helped design some of the communication classes at Salt Lake Community College as well as Western Wyoming. I was kind of a part of it. And that really has helped me learn how important online learning is and how I can help these students. Some of the most memorable moments that I've had teaching is being able to see my students use what they've learned and progressively get better at it. So I've actually even had a couple of them reach out and say, I'm so glad I took your class because now I'm not afraid when I get to do these interviews and I know how to public speak. I'm not using filler words, I'm confident. One of my students actually went on to be an inspirational public speaker, and I get to watch him be successful and impact other people's lives. Life advice that I give my kids and that I also give my students is to have the desire to learn. I think sometimes we get fixated with just checking the box or getting a good grade, right? I have students all the time who are like, I just need an A in this class. And I'm like, if you're here to become better at public speaking, you're going to be successful in my class. If your goal is just to get an A, you're going to struggle a lot more. And so when students are here at school, that's what they need to think is, what can I do that I want to do?